And now, from the Florida Today Information Center, this is the Florida Today Show.
With hurricane season set to officially begin in just a few days, do you know the drill? Meanwhile, brown tide has some environmentalists seeing red. And school's out for summer, and 2 schools are out forever, despite ongoing parent protests. Hello, Space Coast, and welcome to the Florida Today Show. I'm Christina LaFortune. Today is Sunday, May 26th. The news never stops, so let's get started. The official start of the hurricane season doesn't begin until Saturday, June 1st. But last Monday, the Space Coast was hit hard by Hurricane Lay, a strong Category 4. Fortunately, it was just a drill. Last week, emergency managers simulated a 1-2 punch storm scenario for their annual statewide hurricane drill. Hurricane Lay was soon followed by Hurricane Kirk, a Category 2. According to emergency management officials, such a scenario is possible, and that's why it's important to prepare for it.
Coming in from the west, that's going to cause Kirk to turn very close to the Florida East Coast, and either parallel the coast a little bit onshore or a little bit offshore. We're not sure exactly where that turn is going to occur yet, but it's going to come very close to the Florida East Coast.
I'm Kimberly Prosser, the Brevard County Emergency Management Director. What we're doing here today is participating in the statewide hurricane exercise, which this year is named Hurricane Lay, in homage and tribute to the late Director of Emergency Management. We have representatives here from a variety of county agencies, municipalities, and other liaisons with agencies in the county and outside the county who would be responding here to participate and assist us in response to a hurricane or a storm of this type.
Coastline to being onshore and move up right through Brevard County. And again, the time of landfall along the Brevard County area would be about 60 hours from now. What that gives us is about a 36-hour time cadence. So I'm just telling you to pre-coordinate.
Hurricane season runs through November 30th. Environmental reporter Jim Waymer has a story that may leave you wanting to call the Indian River Lagoon, wait for it, the Brown Lagoon. As you might have guessed, it's not pretty.
Brown tide is back in the Indian River Lagoon, but this time the algae that turns the lagoon a chocolate brown arrived earlier, in the same spots where it bloomed last year. Recent tests found brown tide blooming worst near Titusville in the northern lagoon and in the southern Mosquito Lagoon, the same areas the algae first appeared in August 2012. Last year's bloom was the first ever recorded in Florida. Biologists fear the algae could spread as temperatures rise, further blocking the sunlight that seagrass needs to grow. The same type of brown algae devastated scallops and seagrass in Long Island bays since first appearing there in the mid-1980s. The blooms became an annual occurrence. Fishermen worry the same could happen here.
Last week, many Brevard students welcomed the beginning of summer break. But for some, the occasion marks a sad ending. 2 schools are closing for good in the face of major budget cuts.
A normally exciting day, the last day of school for students before summer break, was a bit sadder for many students in Brevard County this year. Students at Clear Lake Middle School in Cocoa and South Lake Elementary in Titusville attended their final day of classes today. Each of those schools will be closing next year due to budget struggles in the Brevard County School District. For some parents, this was the end of a year of uncertainty about knowing where their students would go next year.
It's totally upsetting to me. This has always been rated the #1 school, and these kids have always done an awesome job here. Teachers have been great. What concerns me now, if they're going to have some overcrowding or what all's going to happen over there.
He's going to have to start over. He made his friends. He knew the teachers here. He knew the routine. Now he's going to have to start all over and get accustomed to a new school. And, I think that's hard on any kid.
Frustrating.
Yes, and frustrating on the parent because they have to figure out the routine with the school, get to know the principal, get to know all the other teachers and everything and how they run the show. So,
for Florida Today, this is Stacy Barchinger.
A third school, Gardendale Elementary, which is a year-round choice school on Merritt Island, is set to close its doors at the end of June. It's been said that music can soothe the savage breast. It can also be used to uplift the spirit of those who might be bedridden, as several local music students are discovering through their charitable service. Here's their story.
Music MDs, we originally got, my sister and I co-founded it, and we originally got the idea back when my grandmother was really ill and in the hospital, and once we played for her and she really liked it, even saying that it was better than the therapy dog. From there we thought that playing music we could benefit other patients as well. So then we started, and at first we did it in nursing homes to try it out. We started in nursing homes in 2009, and after playing in nursing homes for a while, we transitioned over to the hospital after getting approval here, and we rotate every week, doing different areas of the hospital, and we perform every weekend.
In crime news, a public official who became a suspected thief no doubt got a surprise when he learned cameras had been set up to catch him in the act. And they did. Roll it.
In this surveillance footage, Cape Canaveral Leisure Services Director Robert Lefevre is seen taking money after the December 7th Friday Fest. On Tuesday, Lefevre pleaded guilty to stealing money from the monthly street parties. Brevard County Sheriff's Office investigators installed a secret video camera in Lefevre's office at the Nancy Hansen Recreational Complex. Footage captured him stuffing stacks of cash into envelopes and hiding the envelopes inside his Black Day planner during the November and December Friday Fests. Lefevre resigned in December. Tuesday, he was sentenced to 1 year of probation, ordered to pay $2,850 in restitution and $998 in court costs. He also was ordered to attend 8 hours of shoplifting theft school for grand theft, a third-degree felony. The second set of footage was taken after the November 2nd Friday Fest.
Maybe you call Brevard home because of its beaches, the weather, or the proximity to the theme parks. But Brevard is particularly popular among one certain group of people, retired war veterans. Here's why.
You don't have to look far to find a military veteran in Brevard County. Roughly 1 in 5 Brevard residents over the age of 18 are veterans. The county's 72,000 veterans spent $350 million on the Space Coast in 2012, about 2/3 of it in compensation paid to the retired military members. But what lures so many veterans here?
We liked this community for where it was because it was close to Patrick Air Force Base. As we lived here longer and longer, we were able to get out to all the amenities that were in Brevard County, and they're too numerous to count. It was like an undiscovered jewel.
Retired Rear Admiral Tom Madison lived in 13 communities during his 36-year Coast Guard career. He came to Brevard to visit a friend and ended up staying a lot longer.
Well, we came here in 1996, my wife and I, to visit an academy classmate of mine. And we were very impressed with the area in which he lives in Sundre. And we stayed for a weekend, and we visited with friends and went to several homeowner association meetings in the Legends and bought a lot and built a house 18 months later, and we've never been sorry. And in fact, both of our kids followed us down here.
Major General Gene Anderson moved to Brevard 15 years ago. He enjoys the camaraderie of interacting with veterans from all branches of service.
Everybody gets along very well. They do well. They play golf together. They play bridge together. They go to parties. They just have a good time. They meet. They talk history. A lot of times they have sessions on where they were and what they did and when, and it comes out to be rather interesting conversations on people. And they didn't know a lot. I knew some of them before I came here, but not very many of them. But I've met a lot of good friends since I came here.
Retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Bill Fletcher has been in Brevard since 1989. The 91-year-old who loves to golf put his feelings about the area simply.
We love, since we've been here, it's the greatest place in the world. And I'm serious when I say that.
A local program offers war veterans a chance to take an all-expenses-paid trip to see some of the country's most famous war memorials. Known as honor flights, program officials say it's their way of honoring those who gave so much for our country.
Space Coast Honor Flight is an opportunity for us to give back to our veterans who made it possible for us to have the freedoms that we have today. And we take the veterans to Washington, D.C. We go see the Air Force Memorial, the World War II Memorial, Korea, Vietnam, Iwo Jima, the Changing of the Guard at Arlington Cemetery. It allows the veterans to reflect upon what they did some 67, 68 years ago when they fought in World War II. And it gives them a chance to be there with fellow veterans and have some camaraderie. And so it's an opportunity for us to give back to those people that have given us so much.
Well, what it meant to me was it's probably one of the nicest things that I've ever had happen from the time that particularly with service and everything.
We're always looking for World War II veterans to take on the trip. We're looking for guardians to assist and escort them on the trip, and we're also looking for volunteers to help with all of the events. We also, since we're a 501(c)(3) organization, we're also looking for money. So anybody that's willing to make a donation, we would be very happy to take your money, because about 98% of a dollar goes towards our veterans for the trip. You can find us on the web at spacecoasthonorflight.org. You can get the applications to be a veteran guardian or volunteer. There's also forms for fundraising on the web. And you can also go find some pictures of the various trips that we've had over the last couple of years.
It's worth every minute of it. To people who have never been, they're missing it. They need to go on this trip. And once they come back, they'll say, "Oh, that was fantastic."
Summer's in the air, and many of us will be heading outdoors. The beach, the park, and for some, the zoo, which can only mean it's time for a visit from our entertainment cast. Susie Fleming-Leonard and Pam Harbaugh are chomping at the bit to tell us about fun summer happenings at Brevard Zoo and elsewhere around the county.
Hi, I'm Susie Fleming-Leonard.
And I'm Pam Harbaugh.
And we're here with your entertainment update. Well, I know what people are going to be doing tomorrow.
What?
Barbecuing.
Oh.
It's Memorial Day.
That's right. Oh, barbecuing.
Yes, it's Memorial Day.
And what else besides barbecue?
Well, there are some parades. I know there's one in Rockledge. I want to say there's one in Melbourne. Parades going on, special events for Memorial Day. So it's going to be a nice Memorial Day celebration on the Space Coast.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful.
Yes. And it also means you get a short work week. So if you're
that's wonderful. That's really
already
wonderful.
Starting to think about next weekend, theater. You went to see. We've been talking about the Heiress for a couple of weeks, and you went to see the Heiress.
Yes, I saw it. And I tell you, this is a rare treat to be able to see a show that's very classic, very period style, as they call it, in concept and execution. You normally don't see shows like this outside of academic theater, or sometimes on Broadway. You know, that was on Broadway not too long ago. And if you love Alfie Silva already, you're just going to swoon over him. He plays the very, very charming Mr. Morris in this, and he charms Tracy Thompson's character, who is a very nervous young woman who is made even more so by her domineering father, who is played by Stephen Wolfe.
Who is just fabulous. I mean,
you've never seen Stephen Wolfe like he is in this, because he's a very dominating person, and you wonder, well, I don't know if I like him or not, if he's being really protective. He sees his daughter falling for this man of questionable repute.
Nice.
And he says, all right, I'm going to take you to Europe for 6 months, and if you come back and you still want to marry him, then so be it. But there are some little twists and turns, and you're left wondering, well, does she make the right decision? Does she not make the right decision? And Tracy Thompson's terrific in this. You see the arc of her character so vividly portrayed by Tracy. She's very good actress.
Well, it sounds like a great show, and that's going to be running at Melbourne Civic Theater for several more weeks.
That's
so
right.
You've got time, but you should call and get tickets as soon as possible, because Melbourne Civic Theater is very small. Tickets tend to sell out.
93 seats, and it once the word gets out, the appeal really ramps up a lot.
Yes. Another show that's coming up, this is at Cocoa Village Playhouse. They're starting their children's programming, and they've got Winnie the Pooh Kids.
And I tell you, if you've children's theater is the most charming thing.
It opens on May 31st, but this is what's really cool. On Saturday, June the 1st, they're going to have a sensory-sensitive showing. Isn't that neat? I know a lot of the movie theaters have started doing this, and it's kind of cool that one of the live theaters is doing it. That's where they don't turn the lights down really low if you have a child who's on the autism spectrum or has some sort of special needs, where being in the dark theater and everybody's going shh, shh, shh.
Right.
But, you know, if there's some children who aren't capable of shushing.
Yeah, well, and lots of times there is that sensory overload frequently,
yes.
and a lot of children cannot process that for one reason or another, and so, you know,
so that's
this opportunity.
The Saturday matinee of Winnie the Pooh Kids is going to be sensory sensitive, which I just think is really neat. A couple of other things going on. We'll run through these pretty quickly. Footprints in the Sand, the Kidney Walk. It was scheduled for May 4th. There was bad weather that weekend. They were afraid to do it, so they're going to be moving that. That's going to happen on Saturday. That's going to be at the Cocoa Beach Pier. Also, one of the biggest, most anticipated entertainment events in Brevard County for the summer Saturday nights at the zoo.
Oh, you know, it's always such a lovely, lovely time to go there and just enjoy the stars, enjoy the animals, enjoy the people around, and it's just such a lovely
it is, and there's
experience.
I mean, be prepared. A lot of people will be there. If you want to go and have an intimate, quiet time at the zoo, this is not the time to go. If you want to go out and see all of your friends and neighbors and see the animals, hear some music, they have bands, the Symphony Orchestra, local bands. So it's just a fun. That starts this Saturday. Also, another big thing, and this is actually in Orlando, but it benefits local organization.
Yes, it does.
KLD, Dancing with Brevard, is going to be Saturday at the Rosen, I can never get, what is it? The Rosen Shingle Creek Resort and Golf Center. This is so much fun. I participated in it a few years ago.
Yes, you did, and I saw you dance. And Susie Fleming Leonard was beautiful on the dance floor. She was beautiful on the dance floor.
You make me blush.
It's true.
But I mean, it's hard not to be beautiful in the costumes that you get to wear with all the sequins, and they pair local people with dance professionals who are fabulous, super good.
It's always a huge attraction in the social scene here, as well as the arts
and
community.
I think, you know, and second to my wedding dress, I think that's the most beautiful dress that I've ever gotten to wear. It was amazing.
And why didn't you buy that dress, Susie Fleming
Because
Leonard?
it cost about twice as much as my wedding dress.
At least.
Which was pretty expensive to begin with. Some of the local stars who are going to be participating: Christine Lantz, Chris Sorensen, Holly Woolsey, Joe Hellebrand. So lots of other local stars will be dancing, kicking up their heels, sparkling,
and
shimmering.
their partners, their professional partners, make them look like a dream on that dance floor.
I think I danced with Lance Sexton, and I mean, I think he could dance with a mop and make the mop look graceful. He's amazing. Brad Stein, who's one of the other, all of the professionals are wonderful.
Brad's the artistic director of this.
Yes, he is. He is. I guess that's about it for this week.
It sounds like a good weekend.
Shall we be back next week to talk more about what's happening?
I think so, about more things that are happening in Brevard County.
Well, now we'll send it back to Christina in the studio.
Thanks, Susie and Pam. It sounds like the zoo is where it's at this summer. I, for one, can hardly wait to catch a glimpse of the straw-colored fruit bat, or perhaps marvel at the serene beauty of the vulturine guinea fowl. And speaking of odd animals, twice a month, Florida Today introduces readers and viewers to adoptable pets that need a loving home. Usually these four-legged orphans are dogs or cats. Not this week. Here's Luann Manderville to introduce us to an unusual pet that is said to have the softest fur in the animal kingdom.
Joining me is Anita Peckham with Animal Love, Inc., and we have a very special guest.
We do. We have Powderpuff here. She is a chinchilla. He is a chinchilla. Comes from the Andes Mountains, way up in the cold, cold Andes Mountains, Andes, in Chile. And he has really, really soft fur. Feel it.
It's unbelievable.
We have one hair going through each follicle in our head. They have 50.
Wow. Now, when you got here, I thought somebody had sprinkled sparkles on him. Tell me why he looks a little sparkly.
Before he was felt that he wanted to be clean before he got here, so they can't take regular water baths like we do. They take dust baths. So that's what he did. He rode around in his dust bath, and that's the sparkles that you see in his fur. It takes out the oils and stuff in his fur.
He is just so handsome. Tell me about the maintenance of a chinchilla.
You really need to read up, whoever adopts him needs to read up on the chinchillas because they do not have any sweat glands. So that means that they can't be in temperature over 80 degrees or they'll have heat stroke and die. They also are prone to diabetes, so they can't eat anything sweet.
Okay. No fruits of any
well,
kind?
you can give them fruits here and there, but not a lot. Like a raisin 2 or 3 times a week. But that's about it.
What would they normally eat then?
They eat, out in the wild, they would usually eat fruit, nuts, seeds, and plants. In the captivity, they get chinchilla food and timothy hay.
Okay. Now, does he do best in like a cage area?
He does. I think they do really good in the Ferret Nation cages, the double-decker cages, and the floor is not wire. It's like a plastic floor, and that helps with their feet because wire kind of hurts their feet.
Okay.
The toes get caught in it, and they need to have a wheel because they're nocturnal. They're up at night running around in their wheel at night, so they just need to have wheel to exercise. They also need to have something to gnaw on to keep their teeth
Sharp?
down.
Or gnaw down?
Gnaw down because the teeth grow continuously.
Okay. Now, an average pet store would be able to guide
Oh
somebody.
yeah, they have everything that he might need at the pet store.
Now, I know we're not sure exactly how old he is, but he looks young to me.
He's not a very old person. Old chinchilla. Their lifespan is anywhere from 15 to 20 years.
Wow.
So they're
That's
not.
fantastic.
They're in the rodent family, but they live a lot longer than they do.
Now, are they related to a mouse?
Yeah, rodent.
Well, he is so handsome. Now, you know, somebody that's never had a chinchilla, I'm sure you would help them, give them some guidance.
Oh yeah, we would give them a fact sheet that they would take along with them. They would have to get their own cage though, because we have another chinchilla there that we hoping will get adopted, but that's why I didn't bring both of them today. But we'll have to have a cage there for anybody that doesn't want one and ends up dropping it off at our
Now, he doesn't need a companion then?
He doesn't necessarily need a companion. They get along very well, but they like to sleep separately. One will sleep underneath of the wheel, and the other one sleeps in a little house.
Well, he is just wonderful. Now, would you mind picking him up just so people can see that he's comfortable being picked up?
Oh, yeah. He's a sweetie pie.
Right. Very comfortable, and he's not jumping away or anything like that. Anita, how much is it to adopt him?
It's $30 to adopt him.
Okay, that's not much at all.
That's not much at all.
And for them to reach you, one more time, tell us what your phone number is.
My phone number at home is 321 area code 674-2366.
Great. Well, I hope Powder Puff finds a forever home very quickly.
And you can also get that information on Pet Finders. He's listed on Pet Finders with a couple of pictures of him.
Great. Well, can I hold him? I want my
You sure
turn.
can.
There we go. For Florida Today, I'm Luann Manderville, and this guy is the greatest.
Thanks, Luann. My son and I certainly had fun visiting with Powder Puff as well. Finally, it's time for a little sports talk. Erica Isola helps us catch up with NFL player and former Rockledge High student Laurent Robinson.
For a long time, though, I thought it was Laurent, and then, you know, I'm sure it's a big pet peeve.
Yeah, everybody messes it up, you know. I've been used to it. It's been happening since I was a little kid, so now, you know, kind of just deal with it. And if people mess it up, I just let it go.
You don't correct them anymore?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends on what time of the day it is for me.
You tweet a lot about smoothies. What is your favorite smoothie?
Smoothies. Hands down, favorite smoothie would have to be small vanilla Hulk. I think there's peanuts in it, and I don't know. It's just, the taste just melts in your mouth. I can't explain it.
Okay.
I promise you need to try it. You got to try it.
All right, where can you get a small vanilla Hulk at?
Smoothie King.
While you're here in town, what's your favorite thing to do on the Space Coast?
On the Space Coast?
Well, you're back home in Rockledge, even.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Space Coast better. Back in Rockledge, I don't know. I haven't got back too much. You know, I'm kicking myself for that because it's so fun being here at the high school and seeing all the old coaches and the guys. But probably just hanging out with my parents. Probably I'd say that. And now I'm just spending time with my family. We just had a newborn, 6-month-old daughter, and spending time with her, my wife, and just waiting for the next opportunity to come.
This is a really great thing that you're doing here for your former high school. I mean, you've donated money in the past to Rockledge, and now you're dedicating not helmets, but the sensors in the helmet that go toward concussion detection and prevention. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, Rockledge is my roots. You know, without Rockledge, I wouldn't be where I am today, football-wise. You know, I started out here, first time ever playing football, and I wanted to give back. You know, after all the stuff I've been through, I wanted to give back to the community, the high school that I went to, and teaming up with Shockbox and with Shockbox was a great thing for me. It opened my eyes up to concussions. It's a wireless sensor that goes into the helmet, and every time you get hit, there's an app for the smartphone that you download, and every time you get hit, whether it's soft or hard, it sends an alert to the phone, to the app, and it just gauges whether the hit is too hard, so players know when a hit is too hard, so they know when they need to get the trainer and not be afraid to say that, you know, my head is not feeling how it's supposed to be. The concussions, it just opened my eyes up to them. You know, I didn't think they were that severe at first. You know, I tried to be the man, be the tough guy, and try to fight through them and play through them, and you know, I ended up hurting myself in the long run, you know, causing myself to suffer more concussions by not taking the right protocol and not understanding the severity of the long-term effects.
Well, that wraps up another show. I'm Christina LaFortune, inviting you to tune in next week for all the latest headlines in news, space, sports, entertainment, crime, and so much more. Thanks for watching. Until next time, we wish you well.